Jeff have his, you want to, where's Alfonso with the microphone?
Oh, Jeff's just going to come up for his microphone, right? For the
No, I know,
microphone,
but the second microphone, where's Alfonso?
This one's
All right, so that's one. All right, we're going to share that one then. Here, so why don't we move over here? Why don't you move closer? Because there's only one microphone now, do you say? Okay. So, can you move this stand just one little thing over there? Thank you. There we go. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So it was a little hectic, and I don't know if we're down one mic. We're hopefully up one computer, and there's bound to be a technological issue. So anyway, we just want to say Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. And we're going to take a big exhale. That was a little stressful, but we're going to hopefully be in reasonable good shape for our program after the service and in the midst of the service. So anyway, we're going to exhale with Shalom. Are we going to say, yeah, we're going to do Shalom Aleichem. Okay.
indeed.
All right, there we go. Shalom Aleichem. If we don't sing in there, I'm just giving a little, if we don't sing in there, the problem has been that they don't hear us out there.
Okay.
So.
Well, we have no
you know what?
cantor and no instrumentalist tonight, which means that we all need to just bring it. Okay? Everybody raise those voices and let's join together a Shalom Aleichem on page 5. Please join me. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Do you know that, I'll switch with you. This is hopefully going to turn on. Or not. Can you bother?
Okay, no, this is fine. Is this fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me. So this is a song about preparation, which is clearly a lesson that we should learn. Shalom Aleichem is that you should be prepared for Shabbat, and a home that's prepared for Shabbat has angels that bless them. And this is my subtle cue that no one's picking up on. This microphone is still not working. Anyway, and so the hope is that a home that's prepared for Shabbat has the spiritual capacity to continue to welcome Shabbat. And that's certainly a prayer that we hope that as we enter this Thanksgiving season, that the gratitude that we've expressed becomes sort of like Shabbat, becomes a habit, that we become habitual in our gratitude. So with that in mind,
Hey.
look at that. So we're going to switch
Show
off.
some
Yeah,
gratitude
you're
when
going
it
to take
happens.
this one, and I'm going to take this one. You're going to take that one.
Okay.
And then plug it in there. There we
Okay.
go. Good. All right, here we go. As you were saying, Jill,
Yes.
a very subtle transition to the next part of our service.
So the next part of our service is actually an introduction of the theme of this special Fourth Friday Shabbat, which, as many of you know, is kind of smack together with Thanksgiving, which I hope you all enjoyed yesterday. And Rabbi Schuldenfrei and I thought in the celebration of abundance, we also need to raise our awareness of the fact that not everybody has an abundance to celebrate, not on Thanksgiving and not all the time. And so that was our thinking behind Food Insecurity Shabbat. And I prepared a reader, which I hope everybody has a copy of. If you don't, please share with the person next to you. We're going to be bringing in some readings about gratitude and some readings about plenty as we are in our Shabbat service and before we experience what it's like for those who do not have the blessings of abundance. So I'd like to start with a reading which is right on in the inside of the first page by the poet E.E. Cummings. And so this is our first offering of the evening. I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping green leaf spirits of trees and a blue, true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and love and wings, and of the gay great happening, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing any, lifted from the no of all nothing, human merely being, doubt, unimaginable, you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened. We're going to continue with Lecha Dodi on page 23. And what I think I'd like to do is ask you to join with me on the first two verses on page 23, and then we're going to jump to page 25 and do the last two verses of Lecha Dodi standing on the ultimate verse. Please sing with me. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmiyanu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'letiferet u'lihila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nacha, ki mekor haverecha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machavat elah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Oh, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Page 25. Yaminu smo. Sorry, Yamin Frutzi, I apologize. Ve'et Adonai Taritzi Ayarish Ben Partzi Venismecha Venagila. likrat kala, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kavela, oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kavela.
And as we welcome in the Shabbat bride, we bring in not only the sense of Shabbat, the sense of rest, the sense of completeness, but we also bring in the sense of gratitude. Gratitude for this great country in which we are privileged to live. Gratitude for knowing that our refrigerators and our stomachs are full, that we have not only spiritual sustenance, but we have physical sustenance as well, without which life is impossible to live. And with these blessings in mind, we greet the Shabbat bride with renewed determination that we in this coming year can be tools of tikkun, tools of fixing, and bringing healing and bringing to those who go each day without. Boi v'shalom, come in peace, page 25.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam em Yisrael, u'tzola, tov emunei, am segula, boi chala, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela.
We can all be seated. Now I hear like there's a parenthesis which says introduce grateful melody. And since the only grateful that I know is the Grateful Dead, I don't think you're talking about that.
That's not the one.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to you for the grateful introduction.
The grateful introduction. So we're gonna start with a melody that I'm then gonna kind of repeat and thread all the way through the service, because our closing hymn is going to be a song called Grateful. I thought that was appropriate for the Shabbat after Thanksgiving. And so what I'd like to do is teach you the melody just for the first couple of lines of Mizmor Shir. We'll daven the rest of Mizmor Shir silently, but I'm going to introduce the melody that will then kind of continue to grow as the service grows. So allow me, if you would, let's just try this little something. I'm going to sing a little line, and I'm going to have you guys sing it back. We'll get the melody pretty easily. It's not hard, and it's super pretty. It goes like this. Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat. Try that. Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot. Pretty. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Let's try that. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Let's do it all together. Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Please continue silently.
So we'll ask for our next reader to stand up. So it's reading number 3. Who is reading
It's
number
Melinda.
3?
It's actually reading number 2.
Reading number
Melinda's
2.
got it. Yep. It's 5, but it's 3.
It's a good thing she
Come
went to
here.
rabbinical school.
Not the mathematician.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm reading.
You know what?
Want me to hold it?
Yeah, that'd be great. There you go.
Okay, this is on page 5. In this moment, mindful of our many blessings, may we form an intent to carry gratitude with us continually. May we leave fear and jealousy by the wayside, making room in our hearts for contentment, satisfaction, and compassion. May we start each day counting our blessings, the blessing of being alive, the many miracles of the living world we are one with, the ability we possess to love and to be loved, the many gifts and talents we have been graced with, the support we receive, and the support we're able to extend. May our gratitude lead to action. May we express our gratitude. And may we smile when we encounter each other on the path. May we seek opportunities to share our talents with others. May we express our love to one another. May we give with no expectation of receiving. May we seek to repair what is broken. May we end each day by counting the day's blessings, those we have received and those we have bestowed. May we be a blessing.
What an appropriate way to end the prayer, saying, may we be a blessing, because where's Sasha? For you, Sasha, you are a blessing. You are a source of light for your family. Hearing a little bit about your family's journey, Sasha, I'll talk more about this tomorrow, that you are the first generation in your family that's able to freely celebrate your Judaism. And we know that there's been, a little bit of to arrive on this day, but the fact that you're here in a free country, freely celebrating your Judaism, is a blessing and also a source of light for your family, for the Jewish people, and in fact for the world. With that in mind, we'd like to invite your family to come up and please, along with Jill, to make the bracha over the candles. We'll invite you all to come on over there. Just be careful because there's wires all over there. We just don't want you to trip. Yeah, it's perfect. Go ahead.
B'mitzvotav v'tzivanu chabad ner shel. Amen.
Amen. And
Shabbat
Sasha,
shalom.
as we celebrate this Shabbat, may the candles that illuminate this Sabbath also illuminate the possibility of hope in your family, that your family's journey from constriction and oppression to freedom is a source of inspiration for the entire world. May you see that as a source of inspiration in your own life as you go forward on your own journey and make your own dreams come true. And let us all say,
Amen.
Amen. And now we're not done with you yet, Sasha. Come on up here for the presentation of the Talit.
What?
The Talit. We'll ask your mom.
Good.
Yeah, you better stay right over here. No, stay here. You just hold on to that. You're fine. You're doing great. You just hold on to it. Okay. Now, Dad.
Still in the bag.
Well, Sasha, I wanted to give you this talit, so you would remember it. You would have something, that to remember your bar mitzvah, to remember your Judaism, your commandments, to honor your ancestors.
Thanks.
Sasha, these tzitzit on the corners of your talit are reminders of all of the mitzvot. And we hope now, as you journey through your life with freedom and with happiness, that you can pursue your Jewish identity and that you can make Judaism something for yourself and something that will resonate in your heart. And we all say, Amen. You don't have to put that on. You can put that on tomorrow. Okay? Here we go. Okay, Mazel Tov. And we'll ask the community to please rise as we offer, begin the Mariv service with the Baruch Hu, which can be found on page 39A, the Baruch Hu.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed HaMevorach, HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed.
We can all be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. 5 lines from the bottom of page 39.
Umavir yom umevein laila, mavdil bin yom uvein laila, Adonai Sevaot Shemo, Achai v'kayam, Tamidim lo chaleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'aravi.
Amen. The second bracha before the Shema, a blessing that affirms our commitment to love. Page 40, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shofenu, U'kumeinu nasiach berucheha, V'nisma b'divrei Toratecha, U'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed. Ki chem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, imenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Now, Allegra, where's Allegra? We put Allegra was put to work by her mom, chopping up all of these vegetables and foods for our food insecurity program. But it was not enough, Allegra, to just put up your chopping skills. Now we have to put your davening skills to the test. But we actually want to say thank you. We want to say thank you for volunteering your time and helping your mom chop up all of this food to prepare for the program. So why don't you come on up over here and lead us in the Shema and the Via Hafta on page 41. There you go.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
That was Amen. Computer speak.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibartam bam, v'shivtecha v'techa, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'yisharecha.
And we continue towards the bottom of page 42 silently. Thank you, Allegra. You did awesome. Oh, she wants to, sure.
Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lehiot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emes.
Page 43. Close up. And now at the top of page 44.
Sure, I know that part. Goes right into Michamo.
And join Jill as we sing along in the words of Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot o seifele, nora tehilot o seifele. Malchutecha ranu vanecha, bokeam lifnei Moshe. Zeli, Zeli, Anu ve'ameru. Naim loch, Adonai loch, leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar, kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ve'go'alo mi'ad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Amen. The Hashki Venu is the reason that we're doing the program that we're doing tonight. Because the Hashki Venu reminds us of the sort of the way that peace is achievable, but is, in order to achieve peace, it requires partnership with God. In other words, to transform this world into a better society, to transform this world into a place of shalom, where people can live freely, where people can enjoy the freedom to pursue their passions of the heart and their passions of their soul, Well, that's only possible if we lend a hand, if we provide the structures in which to support humanity. And so that's why we're having a program in partnership with Mazon this evening, because it's our recognition that we live in a world where so many of us were able to enjoy elaborate feasts over the past several days, but yet so many millions of Americans, and of course so many citizens of the world, go to bed each night unsure of where their next meal will come from, and certainly they lack the knowledge of knowing that this world will provide a place of certainty for them. And with that vision in mind, with the vision that we can be tools, that we can be Klei Kodesh, that we can be holy tools, vessels for ensuring that the world comes to a better place, tonight we recite the Hashkivenu, our prayer for peace, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, lehamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, lehamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ushmor tzedkeinu, uvoenu, lechayim ushalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Let's go back to the top. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Uhamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Uhamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Baruch atah Adonai, for Eshukat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Please rise, Vishamru, page 46.
Where are all of your voices? Shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, ha-Shabbat,
Good Shabbos.
la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. V'nei b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat ve'inafash, Shabbat ve'inafash, Shabbat ve'inafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'almadi v'rak yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, b'galaba, uv'izman kariv emeru, Yehei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam u'la'mei amaya, V'yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar, v'yitraman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudeshah. Leila min kol b'chirata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram b'yamam, v'imeru. Amen.
The Amidah is our time for our own personal prayers, reflections, and meditations. The traditional liturgy for the Amidah can be found beginning on page 47, or you can just let the next few moments be a time of your own thoughts, your own meditations, and your own aspirations. Once you've completed your Amidah, you can be seated. Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Kaddish Shalom, page 54.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divra kirute, v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachonu v'yamachon, v'chayedei b'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalav v'zman kari v'yimeru. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, v'yalam alo me'amaya. Yitbarach v'yishabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudeshah. Le'ela min kol b'chata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram be'ama v'yimeru. Tikabas lo tonu aton dechol beit Yisrael, chadam u'archon devishmaya v'yimeru. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimeru. Oh, say shalom b'mromav, huya say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru.
Amen. A few weeks ago, we had the idea of, we knew it was going to be a smaller group, And we know that programming on a holiday weekend is sort of like one in the top 10 commandments of synagogue no-nos, right? Like, thou shalt not program during a holiday weekend, like right along with keeping the Shabbat, right? But Jill and I spoke, and we both agreed that, especially considering considering Thanksgiving, that it would be important to do a program on food insecurity on this holiday weekend, and that we would be happy with whoever came, because it's such an important cause. And so when we put out word that we were going to do this program, and we heard such wonderful feedback, a lot of people who may be joining us on Zoom, but weren't able to be here in person. But we got a great email from Jeff, who's like, "Hey, Brian, remember, I wrote a book about a food bank." And I was like, "Yes, you did. And I read your book about a food bank." And so I quickly spoke with Jill, and Jill and I both agreed that, of course, it would be appropriate for us, instead of for us talking more and more and more and more, that instead that we would invite Jeff to be here and to serve as sort of a darshan, but in a different way, a darshan by reading his beautiful book for us, a book that I think it'll speak for itself. So we're going to just spend a moment kind of getting the technology right. The pictures, it's a picture book. The pictures are going to be on the screen over here, hopefully. And Jeff, you're going to come up over here, and I'm going to sit right over there. And so hopefully this will all work. That's a different religion, but yeah, we'll go with it. whatever works.
That's okay. That religion's going to pop up a lot in this book.
Actually, yeah, are you going to introduce it?
Right. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. This is actually the unveiling of Food for Hope, because the publication date for this book is May 2nd, 2023. It's also the first time I've read it aloud, so I have no idea how this is going to go. I get asked a lot, sort of, where do you get your ideas for books? And normally for me, it's something that I've read someplace, because I read a lot. I read a lot of stuff, but not this book. The idea for this book came circa 2017 or so. I was sitting in Beth's living room with Beth's younger daughter, who at the time was a 8th grader. She's in college now, mind you. She was an 8th grader at the Wesley School, another Christian institution, and she was volunteering at the North Hollywood Interfaith Food Pantry. And we're sitting and talking, and I think my first picture book had come out maybe a year before that, and I'd written another one, but that one wasn't going to come out until like 2021. And she's like, "We're talking ideas." And she's a volunteer at the food pantry, and she's like, "Who invented food pantries?" I had no clue, zero idea at all. And I'm like, "Okay, Audrey, I'm going to find out, and maybe it's a good subject for a picture book." So I started digging into it, and it is the craziest story that you've ever heard. It is it's not a rags to riches story. It's a riches to rags story of one guy who could be anybody sitting in this room right now. John Van Hengel is his name. And when we get the tech correct, I will read you his story. It is oddly something of a Christian story. John grew up in rural Wisconsin during the Depression. He was not poor. He was not close to poor. His father ran a drugstore. His mother was a nurse. He had plenty of food during the Depression. John had a great life, went to college, and then ended up on a soup line in Phoenix, Arizona in the 1960s. Let's read Food for Hope. Food for Hope, illustrated by Michelle Agatha. All right, what you don't see on the page previous is at the bottom, there is a quote from John Van Hengel, loosely based, this is the first time this has ever been intoned, on the premises of Adat Ariel, the Gospel according to John. Chapter. The poor will always be with us. John Van Hengel adopted this line, but why the hungry? Food for hope. Next page. Oh, okay. The cruel Arizona sun beat down on a ragged line of people that snaked away from a church door. John Van Hengel was in that line. Whew, boy, this is hard for me to read. Can I take this? Oh, that's so much better. Oh, that's a massive improvement. The wait was long and hot, but worth it. Inside was a dining room for the needy. The menu was boring. Soup, rice and beans, powdered milk. But it was the difference between an empty stomach and being fed. John knew the mind-numbing ache of hunger. So did everyone there. They were grateful for the free meal. In faraway Waupun, Wisconsin, where John was born, few would ever have imagined him in a soup line. He seemed to have been born lucky. His mother was a nurse, and his dad owned a drugstore with an ice cream counter. He grew to be handsome and athletic. After college, he went to California to play tennis with movie stars. A born salesman, money rolled in. He married, had 2 sons, and bought a home near the ocean. Then luck ran out. He lost everything. For the first time in his life, John worried about his next meal, and the next, and the next. John liked people. He talked with everyone in the dining room, disabled veterans, the homeless, and kids whose parents had to choose between rent and food. Their stories opened his heart. He found work at the kitchen, shelter in a cheap room above a garage, and faith in prayer with Father Ronald at St. Mary's Church. With his simple life, John was no longer hungry, but it was not like his kitchen fed people well. He heard kids clamor for fresh fruit and remembered the citrus orchards east of town. He drove out in a battered pickup truck and convinced the growers to let a volunteer crew harvest grapefruit that would otherwise rot on the ground. They gathered so much extra that John drove it to other charities. It was joy to see everyone enjoy the fruit. John wanted to feed more people. He just didn't know how. During one grapefruit delivery, he heard an unemployed mother boast that she got food at a special store her kids ate like the rich for free. John thought she was making it up until the woman practically dragged him to a supermarket dumpster. "Look," she pointed. John peered inside. The bin overflowed with banged up cans, crushed boxes of dried goods, and piles of bruised fruit, but edible vegetables. This was her store. She was only sorry she couldn't put the extra in a bank. John never got her name, but he always gave her credit. He rushed to St. Mary's, excited by the potential. "We need a food bank," he exclaimed, "a place to share food that's being thrown out." "Oh, it's a great idea," Father Ronald agreed. "Do it." "Hold on," John protested. "I already cook at the mission. My plate is full." Priest smiled. "You heard the call, John. Decide if you want to listen." 6 months later, John opened the St. Mary's Food Bank in an abandoned bakery. He scrawled a quote from the Gospels on a board above his rickety desk, adding his own twist. "The poor we shall always have with us, but why the hungry?" John needed a lot of food to help the needy of his community. He found it in supermarket warehouses. He looked like a beggar, but his message to the managers was powerful. Don't discard what you can't sell. Give it to the hungry. Donations rolled in. Cases of dented canned anchovies, boxes of broken spaghetti, and one memorable day, 5,000 squawking chickens. St. Mary's distributed 125 tons of food to kitchens and food pantries the very first year. It ran on volunteer labor. To John's delight, his grown-up sons came to help him. They found takers for everything, even the chickens. A government agency offered money to spread the idea. John didn't want to change his humble life. He just wanted to feed more people. He named the new charity Second Harvest, but never accepted a paycheck. It opened dozens of food banks across America, and more food arrived than he could ever imagine. 37 railroad cars of discontinued cereal, 2 million bottles of discolored juice, 17 trailers of frozen trout, and on another memorable day, 1 million chocolate Easter bunnies. Smiling volunteers found takers for everything, even the bunnies. John traveled the world to open food banks, but never forgot those being fed. He worked to the end and talked to young and old at dining rooms and pantries. When a first grader heard that the frail figure sitting on the bench in thrift store clothes and white painted shoes was the father of food banking, he shook John's trembling hand. "You did good," he said. That is food for hope. The end. Yes.
Okay, so while you have the mic, do you want to tell these people why a nice, observant Jewish boy like you is writing picture books about Catholics?
Oh my gosh. It's a beautiful story. That's why. It's a beautiful, perfect religious story. This story would not have happened but for the Roman Catholic Church. They owned that abandoned bakery in downtown Phoenix. This man, but for the Roman Catholic Church, who knows what would have happened to him when his life fell apart. He could have well been dead. This church saved him. This church underpinned this first food bank. This church helped the food banking movement grow, and food banks and food pantries and soup kitchens everywhere owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to the Roman Catholic Church and to John Van Hengel. It's a beautiful, beautiful way for us to get together. I'm honored that I had an opportunity to read this. Thank you.
That story is about transforming the mundane into the holy. And that's what we do on Shabbat. So we'll invite Sasha to come up and lead us in the Kiddush on page 55. So we'll ask Sasha to please come join us. He's a program actor. We can have a Q&A after. And we'll ask everyone to please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lemase bereshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zeher litziot mitrayim kivanu v'harta v'tanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shava pocheha v'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen. Yeah, go ahead. Good? Thumbs up. Down the hatch. It's a good thing that we use, Rabbi Bernard. It's a good thing you instituted the grape juice rule. Rabbi Silverman, okay. We will continue with Aleinu on page 56.
I'm going to give Sasha her notebook back.
Page 56.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kugei haratzot, velo samanu mishpachot hadama, shelo sam kelchenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. Anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim livnei melech mahei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim beyoser haaretz umoshav yikora v'shamayim mima'al ushniatu zo ushchinatu zo ve'ohem meromim hu Eloheinu Einod Emed Malkeinu Efesu Latov Kakatu Betorato Ve'adata Hayom Hashivota elevavecha. Ki hu Adonai Elokim b'shamayim ima'al ve'al haaretz Eino. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
And love, we recall those who no longer walk this earth, and we are grateful to God for the gift of their lives and for the cherished memories that never fade. This week, we as a congregational community mourn the passing of Marcia Abelson, whose Shiva continues tomorrow evening after Shabbat at 7 p.m. at the Lasker home. And this week, we continue to mark the Shloshim, the 30 days since the passing of Patricia Berger, Shashki, Ada Rose Parker, Michael Adler, B. Reichheimer, Malka Golowinski, and Vojtash Nivashkil. And this Shabbat, we also observe the yurtzites in the coming week of Sheila Goldberg, Jacob Leibovitz, Sylvia Newman, Max Ornstein, Michelle Simon, Belle Genovese, Frida Cohen, Benjamin Adler, Diane Adler, Barnett Berdigoff, Alan Bodley, Philip Hill, Harriet Poulin, Pinchas Solomon, William Simons, Nathan Zimmelman, Albert Cohen, Julius Diamond, Bertha Farsht, Yitzchak Lazar, Hyman Ziff, Anna Deutsch, Florence Farsht, Faye Friedman, Dr. Joseph Eisenstark, Philip Spivak, Sidney Brakeman, Eliza Cohen, Hella Klipstein, Linda Selza, Joel Schickman, Sarah Silverman, Miriam Tamaris, Peggy Zira, Marlo Barr, Lena Elma Campbell, Sally Jacobs, Anita Rubenstein, Ben Sugar, Susan Shabi Wasserman, Molly Arioff, Sonia Koch Binstock, Shlomo Jonathan, Harold Littenberg, Robert Robinson, Charles Tomaris, Brent Valens, and Sophie Wall. Is there anyone else observing a yurtzeit for someone who I neglected to mention? We'd like to ask those of you who are mourning or observing a yurtzeit to please rise as we sanctify God's name with the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah bi'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uv'yumechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Omei Omaya Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Romam V'yit Naseh V'yit Hadar V'yit Aleh V'yit Alal Shemei Dekudesha B'rechu Le'ela Minko Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran V'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. And may the memories of our loved ones be a source of continuing blessing and comfort, and let us all say amen. We're going to conclude our services in just a few moments. What I'd like to do is just, first of all, I want to thank Jeff so much for that world premiere reading of what a beautiful book and what an incredible story of one man who heard the call and then did something about it. And that line just really resonated with me. It was really very powerful. And I think that the beautiful way that you encapsulated it, just seeing certain younger members of our community enraptured by the story was really inspiring for me. So thank you for telling that such an important story, and we can't wait to hear as that story continues to be read by many, many people, and that message continues to be spread. So thank you so much, Jeff. we're going to look at the issue of food insecurity from a very different perspective in a few moments, where our good friend from Mazon, Liz, will be helping us guide us on a program that will sort of give us a different idea of what food insecurity in this country looks like. Now, that will also include dinner. And if you are like, oh my gosh, I meant to come and I forgot to RSVP, we're of the thought that we'll always find a room. So what we're going to do in just a few minutes after services conclude, if you've signed up for the program, or if you'd like to stay for the program and didn't yet remember, if you just kind of it slipped your mind to RSVP, then we'll sit at these 4 tables in the back, and then we'll turn things over to Liz. So again, if you'd like to stay and you just sort of slipped your mind, that's okay. We'll always make room for you, and we'll go to the back. But before we conclude the service, I know we want to look again at some readings, another reading, and then to sing another song with Jill.
Thanks so much. So we're going to turn to page 7, and Jeff, you want to come up and do your reading, and then we'll finish with another reading and song.
For the laughter of the children, for my own life breath, for the abundance of food on this table, for the ones who prepared the sumptuous feast, for the roof over our heads, for the clothes on our backs, for our health, and for our wealth of blessings, and for the opportunity to create with family and friends, for the freedom to pray these words without fear, in any language, in any faith, in this great country, whose landscape is as vast and beautiful as her inhabitants. Thank you, God, for giving us all of these. Amen.
Some of you know that I'm a bit of a poetry nerd. So I put together a packet with way more readings than I knew we were going to do tonight, but I hope that you'll take the packet home and just kind of linger over some of the text on your own. But if I may, I'd like to finish with the poem that's on page 6, which was written by the poet Alberto Rios. And we'll read that, and then we'll do that song I promised you. Remember we did the little preamble for it? We're going to get there. Alberto Rios, When Giving is All We Have. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn and the pages too, but we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue and I gave you yellow. Together we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference.
In just a moment, we'll conclude with a reprise of that song. But I just want to say that we're just privileged today not only to have, of course, Rabbi Jonathan Bernard with us and Rabbi Deborah Schuldenfrei, but a very special rabbi here, Rabbi Tzvi Dershowitz. And Rabbi Dershowitz, I like telling this story about this idea of giving. So my very first day as a rabbi, do you remember this? You took me out to lunch 20 years ago on my very first day as a rabbi at the Persian Chinese, you remember that? Where was that place located? Kebab and Chinese. There we go. The Kebab and Chinese. Is that place still there? But what you gave me that day, I remember we were talking and you said, okay, Brian, now that you're a rabbi, how do you want to leave your mark? And And that was just a really interesting way of sort of framing, asking me, like, you can get, as a rabbi, caught up in all of the detail of you have to be here for this service and be that for that service, but how do you want to, as the poet just said, how do you want to give? How do you want to leave your mark upon a community? How do you want to leave your mark upon a Jewish people? And so I really appreciate not only the lunch, but more importantly, that sageful advice. The lunch was pretty good too. I used to eat meat in those days and I packed it away. You bought me beer one time, so between the two of you, all right. Anyway, that's right. That's right. So anyway, I want to just welcome Rabbi Dershowitz. It's always a pleasure to have you here and with your family. And I know it's nice to have Eitan in town. And if you want to do a feature on Jeff's book, just a little hint. Okay. Anyway, we're going to close in song, and then we'll introduce Liz Braun Lilienfeld, our guest for this evening, and we'll let the folks after the song, we'll retire back there if you want to stay for the program. If you're not staying this evening, we'll bid you a Shabbat Shalom. I know some of you said, you had some comments and stuff. We'll have time for ample discussion during the program. Okay? So,
I'd just like to say, as a student rabbi, there's nothing intimidating at all about doing this with 4 rabbis in this room. The song is on the very back of the packet. It's the bottom one on page 8. It's a melody that I introduced to you early in the service. The words are in English, super, super easy. Join in with me, please. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece by Beth Stiles called Grateful. It goes like this. For each day I live, my God, for each day I live, I am grateful, grateful, forever grateful, grateful each day I live. Let's do it together. For each day I live, my God, for each day I live, I am grateful, grateful, forever grateful, grateful each day I live. I am gifted by your glory. I am lifted by your love. I am grateful, grateful every day I live. I am grateful, grateful every day I live. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. If you're joining us for the program, there's 4 tables. Make yourselves comfortable. If you're not able to join us for the program, we wish you a Shabbat Shalom. We'll see everyone tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow at 9 a.m.
I was literally sitting there thinking my sister's also a rabbi, and I'm like, does everybody go to rabbinical school have a nice voice? Like, no, it is.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. All right. So, you ready to do your thing?
Yeah,
You'll see that we didn't bring everything on the plate. We
Yeah,
brought well, you saw what we brought.
We may be able to, before we start, I think we should also be
Oh yeah, I get it.
this stuff.
I mean, I'm thinking about projecting, and or I can take a mic with me. But I don't need it.
No, it says it's water. It's water.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah. So what we can do is we can just kind of this. test, test, test. Yes, this is good. So we'll just encourage everyone who's staying for dinner. Let me see where you're sitting so we can make sure that we have enough seats. There's, so if you are staying, just kind of grab a chair. Okay. There's some room over there. Okay, great. Patrick, do you have seats? Do you have seats? No, not yet. Okay, we're good. All right, hold on. Let's just, we can make room over here. Okay. Okay, we're going to begin our program. So if you want to chit-chat, we encourage you to chit-chat elsewhere. That's the Seitchem L'Shalom. He was. Yeah. He was in, he was out, he davened, he left. Okay. I just want to make sure that everyone has a seat. So if you're staying for... Okay. Andres, I'm sorry. Alfonso, I think we needed one more table. I think so. Can everyone here show me that they have a seat so I just know if everyone has a seat? So, okay, I think we need one more table. There's 4 there. Okay, there's 4 there. Okay, just enough. Okay, perfect. Actually, Alfonso, if you can hear us, we're good. Okay. That's Elijah. It's okay. Okay. All right. So, we're now going to turn things over to Jill. Alfonso, sorry. Now we're good. All right, you just leave it there in case in case Elijah brings a traveling posse of prophets. That's right. That could happen.
Good evening, everybody. Hi. I am Liz Braun Lilienfeld, and I am with Mazon, a Jewish response to hunger. And of course, the danger of leaving collateral out on tables is that you're already reading it. So you're getting a little beating me to the punch here. But so we have a kind of different program for you, and a little different than what I normally do, frankly. So we're all going to learn together. So do you want to intro at all, or should I just start? Okay, because there's going to be food involved. There's snacks.
Well, I guess the first thing I should do is really say thank you so much to Liz, who is such a wonderful, patient, professional person. She saw me through probably 10 different iterations of this program tonight. Like, I'm sure I called her 10 times. I was like, Liz, how about this? Liz, how about that? How about if we do take a little bit of this and put some of it with that? And she's like, Jill, why don't you just kind of think about it? I was like, okay, but I had this really good idea at 3 a.m. She's like, okay. So I'm really super grateful to you, Liz, for seeing us through the iterations. So I'm just going to give the first part of the introduction of what this experience is, and then I'm going to hand it over to the expert in food insecurity, which I am not. So what you have in front of you on your tables are these placemats or postcards, which you can see, which Liz will tell you more about, but you can see that there are foods that are broken up into different categories: fruits and vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy. And what we are representing for you this evening is what it's like to try to put a meal together, when you don't have the entire world at your fingertips. And Liz will give you the specifics of how this works, but I just want to say that what I've tried to do here is represent sections of this placemat with actual foods in the actual portions that are specified on this list. I also want to give a lot of thanks to my daughter Allegra, who chopped and measured and weighed and apportioned all of this stuff with me all day today. So I didn't bring everything from the vegetables, but I did bring carrots, lettuce, and peas. I didn't bring everything from the fruit section, but I did bring apples and oranges. For the grains, I brought wheat bread and crackers. That's exactly right. And then for the proteins, we have the peanut butter, tuna, and black beans. And then for the dairy, we brought the yogurt. So, and all of those, like I say, are apportioned in the way that are specified here. And now Liz will explain to you what all of that means. So, thank you again, Liz.
Thank you, Rabbi Jill. So she's very kind to say that I was patient with her. I think I made her do all sorts of iterations of this program. And so the idea today is we have this meal in front of you, but we wanted to make it real. It's one thing to invite you to make a meal based on what's on this activity sheet. I'm getting there. But it's another to see it in front of you. And so I'm going to invite you in just a moment. We've all done meals like this, bar bat mitzvahs, weddings, galas. So I'm going to excuse you one table at a time to go and make a meal for yourself. But the idea is to try and make a meal that you would want to eat. This is obviously an imperfect activity, even as it's is in paper form. This isn't representative of how it would be to cook in your own home or how it would be to go grocery shopping. But we just wanted to kind of literalize how much food it is. And to kind of fast forward the activity a bit, the reason that these are apportioned to rewind a second, they are apportioned by portion size. It's theoretically, it's based on USDA guidelines or, the portions on a box, the suggested serving size, and the prices were sourced some years ago now. So we will also have a discussion about inflation, but we are trying to make a meal on the SNAP budget. That's where we're going tonight. And SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps. And it's really interesting to have shared this story earlier, where we were learning about the charitable food system and the incredible boon that is to millions of people in this country. And so we're turning our attention now to government benefits. So let's start, because it's going to take a little while to get through each table. So Rabbi Schuldenfrei's table, why don't you start? And you can go through the line over here, and you're picking one item from each section. So one protein, one fruit, one vegetable.
If it would help you you could bring the menu with you, and then we can help you as you go through. Just pick one from each, or I'll fold an extra menu up, and you're just going to pick one food from each category.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we'll while we're seated over here while we're waiting to go through the line, I certainly invite you to look at the activity. Oh. So we're fast forwarding. So we had a question of what is the $1.40. So if you turn over the meal planner, you'll get to the kind of the jig of it. So $1.40 is the average SNAP benefit. I should say was the average SNAP benefit. And do people, do we have just a raise of hands, and I will explain it, but do we have a raise of hands of, is there a familiarity with SNAP? No, okay. Yeah. Exactly. The arc of this evening is that we want to talk about what hunger looks like in the U.S. and what the responses to hunger look like in the U.S. And so we wanted to start with this activity right now to show what a meal on the SNAP budget would look like, a meal on government benefits, to kind of put meat on the bones, to flesh out what this experience looks like for people. We're going to follow this with a video sharing more about from people's experience, people's lived experience of food insecurity. But the SNAP program puts money in people's pockets. Oh, and we have a second table going. Wonderful. It's based on various factors of your income and your what assets you may hold, how much money your family holds. You can get a certain amount of money every month to purchase food. And considering the difficulty of hearing this explanation while also going through the line. I think we'll hold.
that last